and welcome to Standing Sun Salutations. Now, just because we are standing and we are also going to be doing some floor work doesn't mean that there aren't variations out there if your body needs extra support in different poses or in different transitions. And you will find a whole lot of different ideas out there on the internet or with other really awesome yoga teachers that will show you a lot of different ways to do this. But this is one way that I really like teaching sun salutations in my class if we're going to do them standing. So it is going to be very similar to the procedures that I use for my seated sun salutations, but we're going to add a few more things in. All right, so let's start with facing the short end of our mat with as much of our mat in front of us as possible. And we are going to get into a grounded position. So again, that is the four corners of the feet, firmly establishing contact with the ground. We're going to have a slight bend to our knees. We're going to have a straight spine, hips tucked in a little bit. There we go. Shoulders relaxed, chin parallel to the floor. Just going to take a deep breath here, and then we'll get started. So first we're going to inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, we're going to do our back bend. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, we're going to twist. Inhale, rise up. Exhale for another twist. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. And then here's where our floor work comes in. We are going to walk our hands out into a downward dog. And depending on your comfort level, you may want to be on your toes, or if you really want to stretch those hamstrings, you can drop those heels down. But the important part is we want to try to get our hips up, our ears between our biceps, and really just elongating that body into that V. So we'll hang out here for a second. And then we're going to shift our weight forward into a plank. Now, if plank is not something that your body likes very much, you can also drop to the knees here. Make sure you drop gently. And do your plank from your knees. And we'll hold this for a few seconds. And then we're going to slowly lower down all the way to the floor. And then from here, we're going to choose our cobra. So we can do a baby cobra. And for baby cobra, we're going to keep our hands here, but there's not any weight in them. We could lift them up and be fine. And we are just going to lift our head and our shoulders up, looking straight out, and then lowering back down. If you want to do a full cobra, you basically would be pushing up a little bit more with your hands. Still have a little bit of bend to the elbows, that's fine. And then lowering back down. And then from here, we're going to transition into child's pose. Child's pose can take a lot of different positions. Some people like to go straight back. Other people, especially if you are a bigger person with a tummy, are going to like to go a little bit more wide-kneed so you can give your body some space. Really sink into that. You can also drop down to your forearms, kind of like puppy pose. And then from here, we're going. So if you need to move your knees back in, you can. Curl your toes back under, push up. And then from here, you can either either walk the feet forward, or you can walk the hands back to a forward fold. We'll inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, so we'll inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. And then we're going to walk our way out to that downward dog. Don't be afraid to take some time, get situated. Maybe rocking the hips back and forth. That can be really comfortable sometimes. And then we'll move into a plank again. You can lower down. And if your knees are not very comfortable for you to be on and have your weight on like this, grab a blanket, all right? Roll up that blanket and put it under your knees. Works wonders, okay? So we'll move into our plank. And then we'll lower down. Inhale for baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. And as we inhale, we're gonna move back into child's pose. Taking a nice breath here. Then we're going to curl the toes under. Make sure that your hands are ready to take your weight. And then we're going to push up and out. Take a breath here. And then you can walk the feet forward, or you can walk the hands back, whichever you prefer, until we get into a forward fold. Then we're gonna halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good job. Now there are some variations that you can do with the sun salutation to make it fit your body. And so here are a few different options that you can try. First, if going all the way down to the floor is not very comfortable for you, grab a handy dandy chair. Now, chairs with a back on them are really useful because it's sort of like having two different levels of support. So if you need a little bit more support, you can grab onto the back of the chair, and then we'll push our feet out. And down dog is going to look a little bit more like an L in this position. But you're still going to get that good shoulder stretch, that back stretch, and that hamstring stretch. Right. You can also flip up into a plank just by pushing your shoulders over your hands. Okay? So using the top of the chair can be really useful. You can also do all the rest of the floor poses using the chair. You can also use the bottom portion of the chair. So for here, after we get done with our forward fold, we would then reach out and get into our downward dog. Moving into plank. And then from here we can lower down. So there's just some options that are definitely going to build some shoulder strength, some arm strength. It's still going to warm you up quite a bit, but at least this way you're still on your feet the whole time. So if knees are an issue, this chair can be a lifesaver. Now with chairs, make sure it's a sturdy chair, make sure it's built well, and that it can hold the weight that you're going to be putting on it. So the really decorative chairs, probably not a good idea. I definitely would not recommend a rocking chair. Don't want to pinch your toes. All right. Other options that we have is for some of us, our arms might be a little bit shorter and it might be a little bit harder for us to get all the way to the ground. So that's where blocks can come in handy. All right. So we can put our blocks where we want our hands to be, and then we would just walk our way out. And this way, the floor is a little bit closer to me. I can get a little bit of a different stretch. And it's a little bit easier on my wrists, especially since these are foam blocks. So it's a little bit softer than doing this into the floor. Now what happens if you have wrist issues and this is not comfortable at all? Well, turns out there are ways to handle that too. One very common technique that I've seen a lot of yoga teachers do is that you use a fist. So instead of having your hands flat or grasping the block, you would use a fist. So to demonstrate that, you can have it on the palm, you can turn your fist out to the side, whatever works for you. Fists don't work very well for me. They're not very comfortable. So another option that I do if my arms are getting really tired or my wrists are just really having a hard time is that I will switch out my downward dog for a dolphin pose. Now dolphin pose you can do with blocks or you can do on the floor. Doesn't matter. You can even do dolphin pose on the chair. But basically what dolphin pose does is it puts your weight on your forearm. It's much more stable that way. It spreads out your weight over a much larger area. And it also is a really good technique to start training you to get ready to do things like shoulder stands. Okay, so let's show you a dolphin pose. The first thing I'm going to do is move these blocks out of the way. And there are a few different ways to get into dolphin. When I'm teaching dolphin, I tend to like to teach people to get into dolphin from a tabletop position because it's just a little bit easier to get that motion going than to lower yourself onto your forearms from a standing position. So what we would do is we would lower down to our forearms. Some people like to clasp the hands. Some people like to do prayer hands. It's really up to you and what you feel comfortable. And then once we have a good angle, we're going to curl the toes under, get our grip, and then we're going to push up and away. And here you have dolphin pose. Definitely takes the strain off the wrists.